Most aviators like to think the general public sees them as adventurous and part of an elite group. After all, in the United States, a country with a population of more than 300 million people, fewer than 600,000 are pilots, including student pilots. This means that only 0.2% are pilots. To put that into perspective, a high school graduating class of 500 usually has only one valedictorian, and statistics say there is probably only one person in that class who will someday become a pilot too. Yeah, no, not everybody graduates from high school, but not all military pilots make the FAA lists either, so let's call it even for argument's sake. The point is, there just aren't a lot of people flying anything out there, and being elite isn't always what it's cracked up to be. In the commercial and political worlds, numbers usually mean more favorable attention, which is why it really is good to introduce as many of your friends to flying as you can. While this channel focuses more on light airplanes like Cirrus, Pipers, and Cessnas, this video is going to shine a light on an even more elite group of pilots, those who fly what we might call specialized wings. The wings may be conventional looking but are covered with Dacron, or they may be made out of nylon and string, or they could be nothing but the blur of a rotor. In fact, the pilots in this group don't commit to aviation so much as they go out to have fun. What they fly compares to the good old Cessna 172 the way a motorcycle compares to a family minivan, or the way a sedan compares to 18-wheelers. The kind of plane pilots in this group fly is classified under the Part 103 ultralight rule. Airplanes classified under this category don't require a pilot's license. With them, you can get into the air with sufficient basic training, but with some serious limitations. They can't weigh more than 254 pounds, can only have a maximum fuel capacity of 5 US gallons, can only have a top speed of 55 knots, must have a power-off stall speed of 24 knots or less, can only be used for recreation or sports flying, and the pilot must be the sole occupant. These planes are open enough to include a lot more than just the open-air fixed-wing aircraft that most people recognize as ultralights. They also include powered hang gliders, powered parachutes, powered paragliders, gyroplanes, and even helicopters. As long as the aircraft conforms to Part 103 ultralight rules, the pilot is not required to carry an FAA pilot license. Ultralights remain one of the cheapest and least regulated ways to get into the sky, though they are viewed as risky by many old-timers who remember some of the growing pains of the sport back in the late 70s and early 80s. But ultralight aircraft and training have matured over the years and offer safe ways to fly. Because ultralighting is mostly unregulated, more than just the normal buyer beware warnings go along with the sport. One of the cheapest ways to get into the world of ultralights is by getting a rotorcraft. When people think of rotorcraft, they think of helicopters, because gyroplanes are often neglected in aviation. Like ultralights, they have had an uneven history. However, designers and the rest of the aviation community are beginning to understand some of the aerodynamic issues that caused accidents in the past, and great designs have emerged. Gyroplanes don't normally have fully powered rotors, which makes vertical takeoffs impossible. Instead, they take off on a runway like airplanes. Still, true vertical takeoffs and hovers are the only two features you give up with gyroplanes. They have a lot of rotorcraft advantages, such as great capabilities in strong winds because the wing moves so fast relative to gusts and turbulence, and a well-made gyroplane is much simpler to fly than a helicopter. One of the best gyroplanes you can get is the FUSIOCOPTER JK2 NANO. This aircraft features a partially enclosed cabin and a fairly traditional configuration. Its empty weight is listed as a modest 220 pounds. It features large wheels that enable takeoffs and landings not only on runways, but also in undeveloped fields. It's powered by a 48 horsepower Polini Thor 250DS, which helps it climb at 400 feet per minute with a cruise speed of 45 miles per hour. But if you're looking for a traditional helicopter that doesn't require a pilot's license, then consider the INNOVATOR MOSQUITO Air. The MOSQUITO Air was specifically designed to be simple but intelligent and reliable. It's powered by a two-cycle, 64 horsepower air-cooled piston engine featuring a single main rotor and tail rotor, a single-seat open cockpit without a windshield, and skid landing gear. The best thing is that the MOSQUITO offers an advantageous power-to-weight ratio, a compact size, and easy maneuverability, allowing the owner to fly as close to home as possible. It cruises at 63 miles per hour, climbs at 790 feet per minute, and has a range of 70 miles, making it perfect for sightseeing flights around your community. This is a true helicopter in every sense of the word, despite its very basic design. The open design means that the pilot is in maximum contact with the air, which is often reported to be a great experience. Fixed-wing airplanes are the most popular way to get into the world of ultralights. Just as in the general aviation world, airplanes also dominate the ultralight world. For those used to a certain airplane feel, ultralights can offer it relatively inexpensively, with a lot of features you would pay considerably more for in GA. What you may not appreciate is that ultralight airplanes are experiencing a cautious resurgence with both fully built airplanes and kits. As GA's sales numbers continue to increase, pilots are giving more consideration to lighter and cheaper options. Some great examples of these are the Phantom X1, the HUMMEL ULTRACRUISER, the ultralight LAZAIR, and the AeroLite 103. The AeroLite is my favorite of these, primarily because of the way it's built. You can assemble it yourself in under 50 hours. The kit includes the fuselage, wings, control surfaces, jury struts, and struts. The kit doesn't include a power plant, propeller, or instruments. You don't get fancy avionics in this plane. It's only equipped with a rotor paddle, a control yoke, electric flaps, a steerable nose wheel, and a left-hand throttle, which is okay for you to navigate around under the visual flight rule. The standard recommended engine is the Rotax 447 with the 46 horsepower Rotax 503 engine optional. It has a cruise speed of 55 miles per hour and about 100 miles of range, and it climbs as fast as 800 feet per minute. If you want something that looks more like a conventional low-wing light plane, then consider the HUMMEL ULTRACRUISER. The best thing about the ULTRACRUISER is that it's easy to build, just like the AeroLite. Another good thing is the attention to detail in the design. It's very good looking and impressive. Speaking of performance, you can cruise at 60 miles per hour in this aircraft, and it can only stall at 20 miles per hour, meaning you can fly extremely slowly, which makes it perfect for a sightseeing flight. The ULTRACRUISER is powered by a 38 horsepower Volkswagen 4-stroke engine with a good climb rate of 1,000 feet per minute and a cruise speed of 60 miles per hour. Moving to powered parachutes. Even before ram air canopies were developed for skydiving, those wings were used for powered flight. Powered parachutes began their development in the 70s and have grown to be a simple, fun, safe way to fly. They are some of the ultimate fair-weather flyers in that the lower the winds, the better. You'll normally see powered parachutes in the air either in the early morning or late in the afternoon around sunset. Their low speeds and simplicity of controls make for great photography platforms. A typical powered parachute pilot flies hands-off except for the throttle, which needs little attention at altitude. Low speeds mean that powered parachute pilots can fly lower without risking collisions with obstacles or disturbing the neighbors. At 30 miles per hour, a powered parachute just can't make a high-speed pass. Some of the best powered parachutes you can get out there are the Infinity PPC Challenger and the 6-shooter P3 LITE. Moving to powered paragliders. Powered paragliders are the foot-launched versions of powered parachutes. They represent their own category with different, higher efficiency wings and lighter engines that are worn on the back during takeoff. After takeoff, the pilot settles into a slung fabric seat that is part of the engine assembly. Powered paragliding requires additional training for pilots and a certain athletic ability. The reward is an inexpensive, highly portable aircraft that can be easily carried on a car rack, much like a bicycle. Combine this with minimal requirements for a runway, and you have what many consider the ultimate recreational flying toy. The Scout 1 Carbon is a good choice if you're considering this option. Only the most adventurous flying enthusiasts should consider the Scout 1 Carbon due to its light weight, which makes it more difficult to control. However, this paramotor lets you push the boundaries of aerial exploration. It features a robust frame made with carbon fiber for the perfect blend of durability, low weight, and a stunning visual design. The carbon fiber makes your machine slick and streamlined in the air. It has minimal drag, so you can fly without resistance. While the cage section has an efficient strength-to-weight ratio, it doesn't sacrifice power or performance compared to other steel or aluminum models. Moving on to trikes. These are best described as powered hang gliders that are steered by pushing on a bar attached to the overhead wing. Pushing the bar actually moves the suspended cart's center of gravity relative to the wing and changes the aircraft's direction and/or attitude. Trikes move faster than powered parachutes and are generally slower than airplanes. They are great for air touring as they have some wind capabilities and are almost as portable as a powered parachute if they need to be trailered. A good example you can get is the Evolution Trike Rev, which is fairly new, modern, and has great performance. It offers a completely unobstructed view with no front strut. Available with 70-inch Tundra tires and all-wheel suspension that allows for off-field operation. If you like our videos, please smash the like and subscribe button. You can also join us by clicking on the link next to the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.